If you were thrilled by the towering inferno, if you were terrified by San Andreas, then you will be scared shitless by Marc the Arcturian's production of That's Armageddon. The most realistic depiction of doom, gloom, and destruction in motion picture history. With no special effects, you will never forget Marc the Arcturian's production of That's Armageddon.
Starts Friday at theaters everywhere. We interrupt your scheduled pet yawning video to bring you this special report. This is an Earth2016 special report. Stay tuned.
Recently, 300,000 people marched in New York on climate change. In Washington, cities around the United States, huge marches about climate change. I just have one thing to say. Stop trying to stop climate change. You might as well go stand out on the beach and ask a tidal wave to come. The ocean doesn't care. Go yell at the stars and tell them to move. Stop trying to change climate change. Stop trying to stop global warming. This happens every time we go through the Photon belt. Melts the ice shields, we do a little shifting, a little dance. Some will, some won't, so what? And here we are 10,000 years later, ready to embark on it again. People say, wait a minute, what's the Photon belt? Well, most of us have heard of the Van Allen belt of radiation. But the photonic band, this belt, which, as you see right here, this is off NASA's website. Earth is passing through an interstellar cloud. Not Voyager 1 and 2 found an interstellar cloud we may pass through. It's not we're about to pass through, going to. Earth is currently passing through an interstellar cloud of intense electromagnetic radiation. NASA scientist Alexei Dmitriev, when asked, how large is this thing? 760,000 billion miles wide. 760,000 billion miles across. Even at 11 million miles a day, when Alexei Dmitriev was asked how long is it going to take Earth and our solar system to traverse this, he said, I don't know, but if I had to guess, I'd say about 2,000 to 3,000 years. Cha-ching!
Stay tuned.
I'm beginning to feel like a goldfish.
You got him going, Doctor.
Well, doesn't all this spouting and erupting have some effect on the Earth?
Oh, yes, tremendous
Doctor.
Roll 8. Well, for instance, when a large flare flashes up around a sunspot area, it immediately sends out a burst of powerful ultraviolet rays that hit the Earth in 8 minutes. But it also sprays streams of slower electrified fragments of atoms out into space as if from a hose. This solar spray of fine particles usually misses the Earth, but at times the Earth is in its path. Now, the Earth is a magnet with north and south magnetic poles and a magnetic field around it.
Greetings and welcome to Earth2016 Part 2. I'm Marc the Arcturian, but you probably already knew that. Captain USS Arcturus. You probably already knew that one too. That opening scene, how many of you remember that one from grade school? Every year through 6th grade. If you went to school in the 60s and 70s. And you know, that's a problem in America today, and none of the candidates are addressing this. They took our Mr. Sun out of our public schools. But if one of you comments and says you remember this film, I'll be a very happy Arcturian. If you haven't seen Part 1, the link is in the description below. If you have seen part 1, I'm going to stop right here and take a moment of precious airtime and say thank you very much. No, I really can't thank you enough. I released it a month ago, and to date, on both my channels, in 1 month, it's been seen by a quarter million people. Now, I can't get numbers. I'm also giving thanks because I can't get numbers like that. The only reason my numbers are like that, I only put in the film what the one who sent me tells me to put in the film. Those with an ear to hear understand perfectly. Like the sign says, in God we trust, all others pay tax. Now, I never thought of myself as talented, witty, super smart, informative, and entertaining. But what's my opinion compared to hundreds of thousands of others? Apparently, I have good kung fu. Stay tuned.
Now, when you drag the top of the planet from the North Pole, the Barber Pole, north 405 miles towards Siberia, that means now everything on the other side, including Alaska, is now how many miles farther south? 405 miles, using this example, correct?
Correct.
Now, I took a lot of heat for that 21 seconds. You would have thought I just said the Earth is flat. And some of you may remember that from my film last year. 2015 is the new 2012. But it was from an interview on the Dr. Hildy show out of Los Angeles in 2014, 2 years ago. And Marc the Arcturian, what in heaven's name is going on? Nope, not that one. Let's see, Marc the Arcturian, phase shifting. Nope, not that one. Marc the Arc. Nope, not that one. Get the feeling I could keep this up all day? Well, in their 7 years on the air, no one's had more appearances on their show than yours truly. Because I have good kung fu. 914. That's the one. It has begun. I'll explain that photo in the middle in just a sec. And a lot of you probably noticed I have so much to go over. I will make a brief apology in advance. I just don't have the time to make one of my usual overproduced films with all the bells and whistles, animations, and sound effects. Oh, thanks a lot. Yeah, well, some viewers probably agree with you. Oh, maybe a little background music, but other than, excuse me, that's your cue. A little background music. Thank you. The point is, the interview was 2 years ago. We're grasping at straws using the data we had at the time, which was sketchy at best, from years before that. Sometimes thousands of years. So it was 50% speculation, 50% postulation, 50% demonstration. Here's a clip I found recently, and I have no idea who this guy is, but it does go to show the great mind thinks alike.
Now we know down in Tampa they had to redesignate the runways, the longitude and the latitude. Remember that. Longitude and latitude. And here's Greenland up in here. And we know that the sun rose 2 days early. And right about, I think we're in the middle, right here off the west coast of Greenland. That's where they reported it. Yeah, the sun rose 2 days early in 2011. Since the beginning of recorded history, this is the first time it ever occurred. Remember that as well. What is actually happening is the Earth has moved southeast. Now this is going to show you how Greenland, right here, saw the sun rise 2 days early, and first time ever in recorded history. I'm going to move it southeast as best I can. See, the Earth has slipped southeast, which makes the sun rise here in Greenland 2 days early because it's moved south.
Well, that should about clinch it. I mean, we can't both be wrong. Okay, so anyone can drag a globe around, but he did say one thing that we could verify and use for extremely strong corroborating evidence. You recall what that is? The sun in Greenland rose 2 days early for the first time in history. Is that true? Oh, look at that! Sparking fears that climate change is accelerating. Well, I don't know why it would spark fears, A, and B, I don't know why that spells climate change is accelerating, but let's see. Aha! For the first time in history. Should say recorded history. In the pink at the top, also reported December was much warmer than usual with rainfall instead of snow, recorded for the first time in, however you say that, since records began. Now you're going to start to see that a lot if you haven't already. Unprecedented, never before in recorded history, broke all records. And every time you see something like that, I want you to have little alarm bells going off. Not like, not like, oh my God, fear alarm bells. Another bell like, it's true, it is happening. Now the yellow on the bottom, yeah, that's a good time for those. Temperatures in Greenland have risen 3 degrees Celsius above average. Okay, pop quiz. What is the agreed upon global temperature increase to stay under if we're to sustain human life on planet Earth? Did you say 2 degrees Celsius? Well, see, you're getting good at this stuff. Not only are we failing to meet the 2 degrees Celsius target, we're on track for warming far above 2 degrees Celsius. Now, some of you may have started to notice this figure. Not in the last 11, 12,000 years, 10,800 years, which just happens to coincide with the last time we came out of our mini ice age, which just happens to coincide with the last time we came out of the Photon belt. Not a coincidence. This is exactly what they told us would happen. This is a shot of the North Pole sea surface temperatures from 2014. The star is the North Pole, little blue splash, Greenland. That dark maroon you're looking at is 2 to 4 degrees Celsius above average already. And those are from 2014. 2016, record summer temperature broken again in Greenland. And between 2003 and 2010, the ice mass, the ice mass disappeared twice as fast during those 7 years as during the entire 20th century. Yup, exactly. There are some other things our esteemed scientists are saying. If you see the date, the sun rose 2 days early in Greenland, 1/11/11. I'll have to cover 11/11 in a different film. Some scientists believe the melting ice sheets is what caused the phenomenon. Okay, they're half right, maybe a quarter right. It is related to the melting of the ice sheets, but the melting ice sheets did not cause the phenomena. The melting ice sheets don't cause anything. The melting ice sheets are an effect of them getting more sun where they didn't used to. The warmer waters of El Nino are a joke. They didn't cause anything. The warmer waters of El Nino are an effect of the shift. The best demonstration, maybe in 2015 is the new 2012, immediately after I dragged the globe 405 miles south. Watch.
That means now everything on the other side, including Alaska, is now how many miles farther south? 405 miles, using this example, correct?
Correct.
This would give Alaska a record heat wave in the winter, similar temperatures to those of Arizona. Then you would have San Francisco, now 405 miles south, which would put you right at San Diego, where the tuna crabs used to swim, and the sea slugs that are washing up. This would put the Oregon sea lions, the California sea lions in Oregon, 405 miles south, back in the San Francisco Bay. This answers every single question that they won't tell you on mainstream news. There's not one of these issues that isn't attributable to where you live is now in a different place than where you used to live.
Plug that into your own formula in your head. come up with one current Earth anomaly you couldn't attribute to a shift in the planet. Now I'm going to take it one step further. The shift didn't cause any of this either. The shift itself is an effect of... Oh, that's the $7 million question, isn't it? Let's run through their top list of theories on why the sun rose 2 days early. Number 1, is it melting ice sheets being caused by global warming? Yes and no, still incorrect. The question itself is nonsensical. Are melting ice sheets being caused by global warming? Yes. Did the sun rise early in Greenland due to the melting ice sheets being caused by global warming? I'm going to go with no. Yes, they are related. It does have something to do with the melting ice sheets, but that's just the beginning. Columbia Glacier, Canada, I believe. Let me slow that down. 84, 97, 06, 2011. Oops, no more Columbia Glacier. Yes, you did. Here's why they're saying the melting ice sheets caused the sun to rise 2 days early. They're saying the ice was so tall, it blocked out that sun. They melted, and now they have a lower horizon. And I'm not buying it. If you are, more power to you. But let's check it out. Here is the view from Ilulissat, Greenland. Sounds Nordic for illusion to me. This is looking due south, and that strip right below Ilulissat, they're saying was so tall, it blocked out the sun. Yeah, if the glaciers were as tall as the Rocky Mountains, maybe. But not that little ice field melting. I'm still not buying it. Here's my favorite. Wolfgang Leonard, director of the Department of Geophysics at the Central Institute for Meteorology in Vienna. Does that even fit on a business card? Ice crystals in the air are creating a mirage phenomenon known as a sundog. Oh, criminy, Wolfgang. You aren't going to pull the old sundog trick out of the closet and drag it around the room again, are you? How dumb do they think we are? Well, very, apparently. What's next? Flying houses? Huh, see? I knew it. Wow, I haven't even released that yet, and it's got over 3 million views. That's the way to do it. Isn't Photoshop wonderful? Hey, this one doesn't have far to go. Jump! Fly! Honey, you're sleeping by the wall tonight? Here's one you haven't heard. Global warming is making the Earth tilt on its axis, pushing the North Pole towards London. Okay, they're half right. India is using so much water out of the groundwater and the aquifer, losing mass. Water's very heavy, pushing the North Pole in an easterly direction towards London. No, no, and no! The North Pole isn't moving. The Earth shifting is dragging London closer to the North Pole. Oh, come on, what's the difference? Big difference! Atlantis never sank. The water rose over it. Oh, come on, Marco, what's the difference? Big difference! Big difference! Big difference. And you could say the same for California. During the California drought, they began pumping water out of their aquifers faster than it can be naturally replenished. Some of the world's largest aquifers, California, China, India, they're pumping water out at far greater rates than it can be naturally replenished. California rivers have lost 4 trillion gallons of water per year since 2011. That's 5 years. Now, water weighs 8 pounds per gallon. That's 32 trillion pounds a year, 5 years. That's 160 trillion pounds lighter. California is 800 million tons lighter than it was 5 years ago. You think that doesn't make a difference? Central California. This is called the subsidence zone. That top marker, 1925. Where the land in the Central Valley of California was in 25, middle 1955, and where he's standing 1977. 8 meters over 25 feet. And that was in 1977. It's like an instant sponge in reverse. You suck out all the water and, oh, it's thinner and lighter, which offsets the gravitational balance of the planet. Perfectly logical. Stay tuned. Number 2. Does it have something to do with 2012 and the Earth's magnetic field? Yes, and I hope we have time to go over that. Number 3. Is it connected to the recent mass bird death phenomena? I don't know, your guess is as good as mine. I mean, penguins are birds, right? And this one is right out of the Hopi prophecy. Oh, I can hear you now. It's Hopi prophecy. Hopi, dopey. Y'all ain't realized yet that if you think there's a mistake in one of my films, I put it there. Do I gotta tell you everything? Well, in that case, as the Siberian tundra melts, Anthrax, frozen in the permafrost for 40,000 years, is being released. And this one's Pandora's box, folks. The local reindeer contract anthrax and die, and local residents, I am not kidding, eat the reindeer. Yes, they die. One child, 12, 9 cases, then 20 cases of zombie anthrax. This one's right out of the prophecy. The animals of man will die. The grandchildren will feed upon the remains of the dead. And I don't believe they're talking about just animals. Water will be getting scarcer. The land, the water, and the sky will all be poisoned. I'm afraid all of that is a fait accompli. It's already a done deal. I'm even mentioned in the prophecy. Messengers will leave messages to those on Earth to remember the old ways. Yeah, I hadn't planned this in here either, but it's just what I'm supposed to put in here right now. Apparently one of you wants to know about prophecy. Let me know in the comments, and I'll make an entire film about prophecy. And we will again walk with our brothers from the stars. How many of you noticed the whole world has gone crazy? He told us that too. Yeah, it's in there. It was written, they will start as fires that burn within us, and we will burn up with desires and conflict if we do not remember the original teachings and return to the peaceful way of life. None of my films are doom and gloom films. My whole intent is to show you enough crud is going on this earth that whether it's environmentally or economically, that the systems currently in place on planet Earth are unsustainable. And there isn't one of you watching that doesn't know that on some level. The ship is going down. And whatever you cling to in this world, whether it's houses, jobs, guy, girl, house, car, boat, it's just switching seats on the Titanic. There will come a day in the all-too-near future where you won't even have one more day to choose which world you want to be a part of. I have good news. Yes, the end of the world has been postponed. Of course, that was put out last year in 2015. Postponed to when? Oh, come on, you know no man knows the hour. And if the animals aren't dying off fast enough, why, man is more than happy to help them along. Hippos and buffalo are being culled near South Africa's national park because they're threatening millions of people. They're all fighting for the same dirty water. So they did what any rational humans would do. They began killing off the hippos and buffaloes. What's perfectly logical. You know, I think that's what we should do, is kill off all animal life on the planet, because they're just using way too much natural resources that us humans need. Oh, brother, seriously. Yes, it may be. And this one's right out of the good book. A third part of the creatures, which were in the sea and had life, died. To echo what Jacques Cousteau already said in the 70s, the oceans are dying, the Pacific especially. And any Marc the Arcturian fan knows what comes next. I want you to look at the date at the top this movie was set in, some 40 years ago. That's a mere 5 years from now. Rather prophetic given the current circumstances, don't you think? But why wait? Order yours today. This is not Photoshop. You can freeze frame that and go to the web address at the top, Soylent.com. And as you can see, it's made for you and me out of all natural ingredients, like you and me. Gives whole new meaning to the term people food. So there's 9 cases of anthrax in Siberia. 1 child died, and 20 more infected by zombie anthrax. And some things never change, no matter what country you're in. They didn't tell the residents for 5 weeks. Here's Russia's hazmat team preparing to incinerate the anthrax-ridden reindeer carcasses at intense heat. Well, I think we should get that virus airborne right away. Here's where they're publishing it was. Some of you may remember this picture. Also out of my film 2015 is the new 2012, where I cracked the mystery of the Siberian craters. Those tips, those sandbars up there are Siberia. The Yamal Peninsula, that's where the Siberian craters are, and that blue dot was magnetic North Pole. All the opposing forces there, methane, pow! Boom! Pop those cores right out of there. And in case you don't recall, it's at a part of the world called, no kidding, the end of the world. And since magnetic north is there, I like to call it the top of the world. Number 4, you gotta love it, was the sun just reflecting off the ice and water. Oh, seriously. Now, don't you notice they conveniently left off the most logical theory of all? Earth moved! Now, there is a number 6. And as usual, I, Marc the Arcturian, have deduced the actual reason. The sun rose 2 days early on 1/11/11 in Greenland. Turns out, it was just a lens flare. Stay tuned. Just look at all we squoze out of 2 30-second clips, and the best may be yet to come. During production of this film, I've found 100% proof, undeniable evidence. Even Neil deGrasse Tyson himself cannot debunk that this is all true and happening right on schedule. But I see we're out of time, so here's some scenes from Earth 2016, Part 3.
I'd say it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
2012, big movie came out. So now we have this idea it happens like that in one day, right? Big cataclysm. Oh, we'll get there, don't worry, but right now it's slow. It's just like you left the water on in the bathtub a little too long, and it's overflowing a little, and it's rising slowly. Then comes 2012 date, and the entire world knew that on 12/21/12, the world was going to end. Dun, dun, dun. That's how it was played out. And the movie 2012 certainly furthered that idea that it was going to all happen in one day, Armageddon, floods, quakes, etc. That it would all happen in 24 hours, one day. And though we will get to those days with great upheavals and cataclysmic events, and if anyone can't see that that's the progression we're going, then we just have been living in a rock or spending too much time on Facebook or watching pet yawning videos. Because when I say 2012 now playing at a corner near you. It doesn't matter where you live on this planet anymore. You know something's going on. Am I right?
Correct. Right.
Because the title is, of course, 2012, now playing everywhere. Or, thank God, it can't happen here.
Thank God that can't happen here. Stay tuned.
In other words, if you took the movie 2012, but you spread it out over 10 years, 2012 is happening now playing everywhere, as Earth's timeline is rapidly approaching event date.
Search your feelings. You know it to be true.
The polar flip. Apparently the whole thing only lasts about 17 minutes. Then what we'll see is like the movie.
What if a disaster strikes without warning? What if life as you know it has completely turned on its head? What if everything familiar becomes anything but?
It happens in our lifetime. Otherwise, it serves no purpose for us being here.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed today. GetReady.com.
A lot of you are familiar with the Mayan stone, which shows the motion of every celestial body in the galaxy for 5,000 years, even though they didn't even have a telescope 5,000 years ago. How'd they do that?
They're from the future?
If you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth.
They're from the future?
If you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth.
How poetic.
But they left us this message, which they had to know nobody's going to pay attention to 5,000 years from now. It's why they wrote it in stone, so that it might last until we get here, but still nobody's going to believe it. You know how they knew that? Because they didn't believe it. That would have been halfway between Atlantis and now. The earliest recorded human civilization, the Sumerians, Egyptians, 3100 BC, or one Mayan cycle, 5,127 years ago. Earliest recorded human history. Is that because humans didn't exist before that? No. It's because every piece of recorded history we had before that was wiped out the last time this happened. Was wiped out the last time this happened.
This has been an Earth 2016 special report. I'm Marc the Arcturian. Doom and gloom is next over most of these stations.
I'd say it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.